Hi Primary 7, it's Miss Jameson here. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year and are keeping safe. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of a history input and our topic is going to be on Scottish inventors. Now you may know a lot about this topic or have no idea at all, but don't worry, we're going to go through it together. Today we are learning about different Scottish inventors and what they made and how it has impacted society. By the end of this lesson, I hope you will be able to say that I can name at least one Scottish inventor, I can explain how their invention has made life easier, and maybe I can design my own brand new invention. So, one of the most well-known Scottish inventors is Alexander Graham Bell. He invented many things in his time, such as the metal detector, the audiometer, and of course, most famously, the first telephone. So a little bit of backstory here. Alexander was rather interested in the science of sound as his mother and wife were both deaf. He began to study voice signals and even founded a school for the deaf and taught them speech through sign language. Along with his assistant, Thomas Watson, Alexander believed that we could design an invention that could send human voice over a wire. The first ever telephone call happened on the 10th of March 1876 between Thomas and Alexander. The first words ever spoken were, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." I think we can all agree that the invention of the telephone has greatly impacted the whole world. We are able to communicate with people from all over the planet with a simple push of the button. From telephones, of course, we now have mobile phones, and to be honest, I think we'd be a little bit lost without them. Okay, so next up we have Williamina Fleming, who was a Scottish astronomer who discovered 10 exploding stars, 200 variable stars, and made more than 200,000 observations of the brightness, positions, and motions of stars. She was the world-leading female astronomer of her day and invented a new star classification system that is still used to this day. So her backstory, Williamina moved to the United States with her husband in 1878, however he soon left her. She was pregnant, alone, and so worked as a maid in order to support herself and her son. She worked for a man called Edward Pickering, who was an astrophysicist. So an astrophysicist is someone who studies the universe and all that's in it using physics. Edward grew tired of his male assistant claiming that even his maid could do better, and so she did. So Williamina learned from Edward and soon went from a maid to the world-leading female astronomer of her day. It may appear that Williamina's star classification system that she invented doesn't really have an impact on our lives, but that's truly not the case. Because of her work, more women were able to pursue a career in the sciences, and as well as this, we have a deeper understanding of the universe and the way it works. Okay, so next up we have William Cullen, who was a well-established Scottish physician who is perhaps well known for his invention of artificial refrigeration, or fridges. So William went to university and he ended up teaching a wide variety of subjects such as physiology, botany, and chemistry. He was a well-liked teacher and he influenced many of his own pupils to create their own inventions themselves. So not many people were interested in William's idea of artificial refrigeration because at that time ice harvesting companies would take ice from lakes and oceans and use that to keep things cold. It took over 150 years for people to use fridges as more and more people were discovering that the ice they were using to keep their food cold was actually filled with pollution and making a lot of people quite sick. So without fridges, I think it would be very difficult to keep food cold nowadays. I think it would be a little bit impractical to store food inside ice blocks or deep underground or something. So I think we can all agree that his invention has made our lives a lot easier. Lastly, we have Maria Gordon, who was a prominent Scottish geologist, paleontologist and politician. She is perhaps best known for her crust torsion theory that helped revolutionize geology and the way people understood what exactly happens below the surface of the Earth. So her work can still be classified as an invention, as her way of thinking was brand new and previously unconsidered before. So Maria had 2 degrees, one in science from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh and another in geology from the University of London. In 1891, she travelled to Germany to continue her education, but she wasn't allowed to attend university as women were not allowed to do higher education at that time. So instead, she had to carry out her own personal research and became what is probably the most productive geologist of her time. So her work in geology influenced many and it completely changed the course of her field. On top of this, she also encouraged many women to campaign for women's rights and even became a Justice of Peace under her name for contributions towards women's rights. So this has just been a really small look into some famous Scottish inventors. However, there's so much more, it's hard to keep track. For being such a tiny country, we've truly made a lasting impact on the whole world. Now, I understand for some of you, you may think that not a lot has been invented nowadays, or that inventors are a little bit boring or old or something, but that's truly not the case actually. Inventions are being made every single day. So originally I was going to show you a small clip from YouTube, however, as much as I tried, I couldn't get it to work in this video, so I've put it up here for you, this way, for you to look at yourselves. It is Big Hero 6, the Nerd Lab scene. If you've seen this before, you'll understand that each of these inventors have come up with some crazy new idea. They're all a bit weird and wacky, but they make science and inventing look quite enjoyable. Okay, boys and girls, so if you watch the Big Hero 6 clip, then you'll kind of understand that inventors can be of all ages, genders, ethnicities, nationalities, and personalities too. So if you have an idea, why can't you change the world yourself? Something to think about. So here are today's tasks. You can choose your own level to work at, but don't automatically settle for the lowest level. Why not push yourselves a bit? Okay? As long as you've learned something from today's input, I'll be quite happy. So our mild task is to do some research and create an informative poster or leaflet about a Scottish inventor of your choice. So here you can choose someone we've already looked at, whether it's Alexander Graham Bell, Williamina Fleming, William Cullen, or Maria Gordon, or you can research someone else entirely. It's completely up to yourselves. So a good starting point would be to think about what your person invented and why. What interesting facts can you find about them that someone else wouldn't know? You might want to make it a goal to try and teach someone at home or your teachers something new. Try outsmart them. So your spicy task today is to design or create a new invention. So you'd have to think about its name, purpose, and what it looks like. So you can do this either online, on paper, or you can even build your design out of materials at home. So this may seem like quite a big task, and if you need any help with this, please just message us on Teams. However, I have every belief that you could all do it. So a good place to start would be to think about what would make your life easier, because if it helps you, it will likely help someone else. So personally, I'll admit I'm quite bad for staying up late. So I don't get enough sleep because I have to wake up early for school. So I'd personally design an invention that forces me to go to bed earlier. So I might make a wireless device that turns off all electronics at a certain time, so I'll be forced to go to bed. Or I might design a new seat that when I sit on it, it'll just automatically put me into bed at a certain time. or maybe even like a little radio that plays soft, dreamy-like music that'll help you drift off to sleep. So one idea, numerous possibilities, okay? And for your hot task, you still need to design or create a new invention, but prepare a short presentation explaining why people should invest in your invention. So I'm not sure if you've seen Dragon's Den before, but that is a television show where regular people go on and pitch their ideas to the dragons. So if they make a persuasive argument, people can invest money in their invention so they can physically start building and manufacturing and selling it. So I want you to imagine that someone at home or perhaps one of your teachers or friends has the potential to invest money in your new invention. How could you persuade them that your ideas will change the world for the better? So you might want to write a persuasive letter, or you could even dress up and do a video explaining why your idea would change the world. Okay, so I hope you've all benefited from today's lesson input, and if you need any assistance with your tasks, please just do give us a message. I know it's a little strange to go back to online learning, but I'm sure we'll all be back in school in no time. Okay, so stay safe and good luck.